The text came through at 11:23 a.m. on a Saturday while I was at the gym. Mom, family announcement. Your brother needs a fresh start after his divorce. We've decided he should move into your house. Dad, makes sense. You're traveling for work half the time anyway. Justin needs the stability. Mom, we've already moved some of his things into the master bedroom. You can take the smaller bedroom when you're home. This is what family does, Dad. Family comes first, Michael. You understand, Justin? Thanks, bro. Really appreciate this. Moving truck comes Monday with the rest of my stuff. I stood in the middle of the gym, sweat cooling on my skin, staring at my phone. My house, the 3,200 square foot colonial in suburban Boston that I'd bought 9 years ago. That I'd scraped together a down payment for while working 2 jobs. That I'd renovated room by room with my own hands and my own money. My parents had never contributed a single dollar to the purchase, the mortgage, or the upkeep. But they still had a key from when I'd given them one for emergencies 6 years ago. I typed one word, understood, then I called my attorney. Patricia Morrison had handled my real estate transactions since I bought the house. She'd also helped me with estate planning and knew my family situation intimately specifically. That I'd been meticulous about keeping my assets separate from any family claims. They did what? She said when I explained. Use the emergency key to break into my house and move my brother into the master bedroom. They're announcing it like it's a done deal. Michael, that's criminal trespassing. Breaking and entering. Possibly theft depending on what they've moved or altered. Can you meet me at the house in 30 minutes? With documentation. I'll bring everything. Don't go in alone, and don't engage with them until I get there. I drove home with my hands tied on the steering wheel. My house was a beautiful colonial on a quiet street, mature trees, brick facade, detached garage. 3 cars were in my driveway when I pulled up. My parents' Lexus, Justin's pickup truck, and a budget rental van with the ramp down. Through my front window, I could see Justin directing 2 movers carrying his couch, through my living room. I stayed in my car and called the police. I need to report a breaking and entering in progress at my residence, I told the dispatcher, giving my address. Are you in danger? No, I'm outside. But there are people inside my house who don't have permission to be there. Officers are on the way. Stay outside until they arrive. Patricia pulled up 3 minutes later in her Mercedes, carrying a leather briefcase. 2 police cruisers arrived right behind her. Officer James Rodriguez approached me first. You're the homeowner? Yes, Michael Chun. That's my house. And the people inside don't have my permission to be there. Who are they? My parents and my brother. They use an emergency key I'd given them years ago. And you want them removed? Yes, and I want to press charges. Patricia stepped forward. Officer, I'm Patricia Morrison, Mr. Chun's attorney. I have documentation that may help clarify the situation. She opened her briefcase and pulled out a thick folder. This is the deed to the property, showing Michael Chun as the sole owner. This is the original mortgage from 9 years ago, with Michael as the sole borrower. These are 9 years of mortgage statements, all paid from his account. And these are property tax records, insurance policies, and utility bills, all in his name only. Officer Rodriguez reviewed the documents while his partner, Officer Sarah Kim, approached the front door. My mother answered, her smile fading when she saw the uniforms. Can I help you? We received a report of unauthorized entry at this address. Do you live here? My son owns this house. We're helping his brother move in. Which son? Justin.
He's inside? And does Justin own this property?
Well, no, but Michael agreed to let him stay here. It's a family arrangement. Officer Rodriguez looked up from the documents. Ma'am, according to these records, Michael Chun is the sole owner of this property. Are you listed on the deed or mortgage? My mother's smile tightened. No, but we're his parents. We helped him buy this house. Actually, Patricia interrupted smoothly, they didn't. Michael purchased this property with a down payment of $85,000 that he saved over 6 years while working as a software engineer and a weekend consultant. His parents contributed $0 to the purchase, the down payment, or any mortgage payments over the past 9 years. She pulled out another document. This is a statutory declaration Michael signed when he purchased the property, explicitly stating that no family members contributed financially and that he is the sole owner with no encumbrances or claims. My father had appeared in the doorway now. This is ridiculous. We're his parents. We're trying to help both our sons by giving one son's house to the other. Patricia said, "That's not help. That's theft." Justin came to the door looking confused. "What's going on?" Mom said Michael was cool with this. "Did you speak to Michael directly?" Officer Kim asked. "Well, no, but Mom showed me the family chat."
He said, "Understood."
"Understood isn't consent to move into someone's house," Officer Rodriguez said. "It's acknowledgement of a message." My mother pulled out her phone. "Look, he clearly agreed." Patricia held up her hand. "Let's be very clear about what happened here. Mr. and Mrs. Chun broke into their son's house using a key designated for emergencies only. They began moving their other son's belongings into the property without the owner's explicit consent. They are currently in the process of attempting to transfer occupancy of a $780,000 asset without legal authority. She looked at the officers. "This is breaking and entering, criminal trespassing, and potentially fraud if they attempt to claim any legal right to the property." Officer Kim spoke into her radio, requesting backup. My mother's face had gone pale. "Michael, please, don't do this. Justin just went through a terrible divorce. He needs somewhere to stay. You have all this space that I paid for," I said, speaking for the first time. "Every dollar of the down payment. Every mortgage payment for 9 years. Every property tax bill. Every repair and renovation. We raised you," my father said. "We sacrificed everything for you. This is how you repay us. By not letting you steal my house and give it to Justin." I said, "Yes, that's exactly how I repay attempted theft." A second police cruiser arrived. Officer Rodriguez was reviewing more documents that Patricia had produced a timeline of every financial transaction related to the house, all traced back to my accounts. "Mr. Chun," he said to me, "do you want these individuals removed from your property?" "Yes." "And you want to press charges?" "Yes." The next hour was chaos. The movers, who'd been hired by my parents and had no idea they were participating in a crime, immediately started unloading Justin's furniture back into the rental van. My parents and Justin were separated and questioned. I gave my statement to Officer Kim while Patricia stood beside me, occasionally interjecting with legal clarifications. "They've been planning this for at least 2 weeks, I told her, showing her earlier text messages I'd compiled. "Look at this thread from 14 days ago. The messages showed my mother asking about my travel schedule, when I'd be out of town, whether I was planning any home improvements. At the time, I'd thought she was just making conversation. Now I could see she'd been planning the takeover." Officer Kim documented everything. The furniture that had been moved in, the boxes stacked in my master bedroom, the new curtains my mother had hung in the living room, a checklist in her handwriting found on my kitchen counter. JS room. Set up bed. Move M's clothes to guest room. Install new locks on master. Install new locks. They'd been planning to lock me out of my own master bedroom. Patricia had brought a property assessor who documented the state of my house. Furniture moved, personal items boxed. My clothes relocated from my bedroom closet to the guest room. My home office converted to what looked like a kid's playroom. Justin had 2 children from his divorce. Total items disturbed or relocated, 312. "This wasn't a casual, your brother needs a place to crash," Patricia told the officers. This was a systematic attempt to transfer occupancy and control of the property. All 3 of them were arrested. Breaking and entering. Criminal trespassing. Attempted fraud for the planned lock change that would have restricted my access to my own property. Bail was set at $25,000 each. Justin made bail that same day his ex-wife's family posted it, probably thrilled at any development that kept him away from them. My parents couldn't make bail. According to my Aunt Carol, who called me that evening, they'd been supporting Justin financially since his divorce and had drained their savings. They spent 5 days in jail before my Uncle Richard, my father's brother, bailed them out with what he later described as the harshest lecture I've ever given. Uncle Richard called me the night he posted bail. "I paid because they're family and I couldn't stomach them in jail," he said. "But Michael, what they did was insane. Did they tell you their version? They tried. Your mother said you'd basically agreed to let Justin stay there. I asked to see it in writing. Of course there was nothing. There wouldn't be. I know. I've watched your parents enable Justin his entire life. But this? He sighed. This crossed a line I didn't know existed. Breaking into your house? Planning to lock you out of your own bedroom? I'm testifying for you if this goes to trial. Over the next 2 weeks, while I was supposed to be recovering from the violation of my home, my family launched an all-out campaign. My mother called my boss, claiming I was having a breakdown and needed time off to work through family issues. My boss, thankfully, knew me well enough to call me directly. I explained the situation, and he documented everything in case they tried again. They posted on Facebook about their heartless son who Dee had them arrested for trying to help family. The post got 219 likes and dozens of sympathetic comments from people who did and know they broken into my house. Justin created a GoFundMe claiming he was homeless because his wealthy brother had refused to help him. The campaign raised $842 before I reported it with police documentation, and it was taken down. My father sent emails to every family member detailing how ungrateful and cruel I was being. How I had a huge house I barely used while Justin was struggling after his divorce. How family should help family. 37 relatives received the email. 23 responded with support for my parents. 11 blocked me on social media. But 6 reached out privately with very different stories. Cousin Jennifer, your parents asked us to take Justin in last year. We said no after he stole $300 from our bedroom during a family dinner. Aunt Carol, Justin borrowed our car for a job interview. He totaled it and never paid the deductible. Your parents made excuses for him. Uncle Richard, I've given your parents over $40,000 in loans for Justin over the past 5 years. Never seen a penny back? The pattern was clear. My parents had been enabling Justin's irresponsibility for years. Draining their own resources and trying to drain everyone else's, Patricia subpoenaed phone records and emails. What she found was staggering. My parents had been planning this for 6 weeks. There were emails to real estate attorneys asking about adverse possession and implied consent. All the attorneys had told them they had no case. There were texts to family members explaining how they were solving Justin's housing crisis by redistributing family resources fairly. There was a particularly damning email from my mother to Justin. Don't worry. Once you're living there, Michael won't kick out his own brother. He's too nice. We just need to get you moved in, and he'll accept it eventually. The bedroom locks arrived Tuesday. They'd counted on me being too accommodating to fight back. They were wrong. The criminal case moved forward quickly. The prosecutor, a woman named Linda Reeves, was not sympathetic to the family helping family defense. They broke into a $780,000 property with premeditation, she told me. They planned to change locks to restrict the owner's access. They attempted to transfer occupancy through physical possession. This is serious crime. My parents' attorney tried to negotiate, drop the charges, they'd never enter my property again. Everyone moves on. Patricia's response was immediate. No, they need to face consequences, or they'll try this with someone else. And Mr. Chun deserves justice. The evidence was overwhelming. The attempted lock installation, the systematic moving of furniture, the emails showing weeks of planning, the timeline documenting their knowledge that I hadn't consented. The plea deal came 8 weeks after the arrests. My parents pled guilty to criminal trespassing and attempted fraud. Sentences: 3 years probation, $28,000 restitution for legal fees and property assessment costs, mandatory family counseling, which they could attend together, but I was not required to participate in, and a 5-year restraining order preventing them from coming within 500 feet of my property. Justin, who'd been less involved in the planning but had participated in the execution, got 2 years probation and 200 hours community service. The restitution would be paid at $500 monthly for 4 years and 8 months. Every month for almost 5 years, Patricia said when we reviewed the agreement. They'll be reminded of what they tried to do. My father tried to send me a letter through a cousin, asking me to reconsider this vendetta. The cousin gave me the letter immediately. My father got a formal warning from his probation officer. After that, they stopped trying. The family fallout was severe. About two-thirds of my relatives sided with my parents. My mother's sisters stopped speaking to me. Multiple cousins blocked me on social media. At a family funeral 7 months later, several relatives literally turned their backs when I entered. But one-third quietly supported me. Uncle Richard, your parents have been enabling Justin and draining everyone around them for years. You're the first person to hold them accountable, Cousin Jennifer. I've watched your parents treat you like a resource instead of a son your entire life. I'm proud you finally said no. Aunt Carol, your grandmother would be proud. She always said you were too accommodating and needed to set boundaries. My grandmother's best friend, Mrs. Patterson, called on what would have been Grandma's birthday. Your grandmother told me years ago that she worried about your parents taking advantage of you, she said. She made me promise that if anything happened, I'd tell you to fight. She said you were strong enough, even if you didn't know it yet. I cried after that call. That was 14 months ago. I've completely reclaimed my house. I changed every lock, installed a comprehensive security system, and removed my family from all emergency contact lists. I gave new keys only to people I absolutely trust. I renovated the master bedroom, new paint, new furniture, erasing every trace of Justin's brief, unauthorized occupancy. I converted the home office back from the playroom my mother had started creating. It's mine again. Fully, completely, unmistakably mine. I'm seeing someone now, a teacher named Sarah, who thinks the whole story is horrifying. They really thought they could just take your house? She asked when I told her. They thought they could give my house to my brother and I'd just accept it. Why would they think that? Because they were right about who I used to be. The old Michael would have agonized. Would have felt guilty about having space while Justin struggled. Would have wondered if maybe I was being selfish. The old Michael might have actually let Justin move in just to keep the peace. But I'm not him anymore. The restitution payments arrive on the 1st of each month. $500 electronically deposited with a case number. I put each payment into a home improvement fund. So far, I've used their money to install a state-of-the-art security system, $6,500. Renovate the master bathroom, $11,200. Build a deck in the backyard, $9,800. Upgrade the kitchen appliances, $4,200. Every improvement makes the house more mine, more valuable, more proof that I made the right choice. Justin, according to Uncle Richard, moved in with a girlfriend who kicked him out after 3 months when he couldn't pay rent. He's now living in my parents' basement, still unemployed, still making excuses. My parents had to sell their vacation condo to pay legal fees and mounting debts from supporting Justin. They're struggling financially and, according to Aunt Carol, blame me entirely for their situation. I don't feel guilty. I walk through my house, now my office, my renovated bedroom, my new deck overlooking the yard I landscaped, and I feel only peace. This is mine. I earned every square foot of it. I protected it when people who should have respected my boundaries tried to steal it. The deed sits in my safe. Michael James Chen, sole owner. No asterisks, no conditions. No family override clauses, just me. Every monthly payment they send reminds me that I chose myself. That I valued my autonomy more than their approval. That I stopped being the accommodating son and became the sole owner of my own life. My parents wanted me to believe that keeping my house made me selfish. That refusing to let them give it to Justin made me cruel. They were wrong. I protected what I built. I defended what I earned. I enforced boundaries that should never have needed enforcement. The house is wood and brick and mortgage payments. But what it represents, my independence, my success, my refusal to be exploited, that's everything. My family counted on me surrendering without a fight, but I didn't surrender. I called the police. I pressed charges, I stood firm, and I won. The locks on my doors are mine. The deed in my safe is mine. The life I'm building here is mine. And nobody, not my parents, not my brother, not anyone can take that away from me. I'm home. Finally, truly home. And it's all mine.